Shentong's eyes twinkled as he watched the 3 teams from the outer city heading towards Jiangning Square. There is a good chance that they won't be able to return from this mission. However, if they can hold out until backup arrives, it will prove that they are indeed capable. At that time, we can at least recruit them into the Yanyan army in Blizzard City. It is not impossible for outstanding performers to even join an investigation team. When Deng Shentong referred to the latter, he was naturally referring to Zhang Yi. After meeting in Blizzard City, Deng Shentong had been very impressed with Zhang Yi and had always wanted to recruit him into the Heavenly God Squad. "Let's see what you can do this time," Deng Shentong said with a smile. Then they began to wait calmly for the order from headquarters to attack. Since Zhang Yi and the others got off the helicopter gunship, there haven't been any orders from headquarters. Zhang Yi understands that the next set of orders will probably not come until the members of Eclipse Moon show up. The fire in front of them had gradually died down. After all, the power of napalm couldn't last forever. And the super low temperature of -60 to 70 degrees Celsius at midnight was enough to make the flames quickly disappear. However, no one knew the location of the Eclipse Moon members at this time. "I hope we don't run into their main members. If that happens, I'll have no choice but to retreat for a while," Zhang Yi muttered. He could not possibly fight the entire Eclipse Moon team on his own. After Zhang Yi and the others arrived at the designated location, they had to make their own decisions about their actions. Zhang Yi did not rush forward, but stood cautiously in place, observing the scene before him. Jiangning Square had been reduced to a burnt and ruined wasteland, with gray-black smoke rising into the air. Zhang Yi asked Flower on his shoulder, "Flower, can you smell the scent of living beings?" Flower's sharp gaze swept over the ruins in front of him. It sniffed, but ultimately shook its head helplessly. Zhang Yi sighed, "Is it because of the fire?" Meow. After the fire burned, the smell became complicated, and it was difficult to distinguish the scent of a living person from it. Chen Xiaoxiao and Peng Li walked over. "Captain, what should we do next?" Zhang Yi pondered for a moment before making his choice. "Just wait here for them to come over." Chen Xiaoxiao and Peng Li looked at him in utter confusion. Chen Xiaoxiao couldn't help but say, "Isn't it possible that we're here to surround and attack them, and not the other way around?" Peng Li said, "Yeah, is it appropriate to wait here?" Zhang Yi ignored them and began to carefully inspect the area. Once he was ambushed by a master of close combat like Daiko Yanjin or Tsukamoto Nobunaga, it would be dangerous for him as well, a dangerous chance of 0.01%, which had to be guarded against. So he had to figure out the environment here and then choose a safe location to wait for the prey and carry out the sniper attack. Using Thunderstrike in combination with Origin bullets, his range of fire can completely cover the entire 5-kilometer range of Jiangning Square. Zhang Yi casually answered them while checking the surroundings. "Don't forget, their intelligence-gathering capabilities are particularly strong. Presumably, by now, they already know our location and have deployed their troops to deal with us. I am not familiar with this area, and they have the advantage of having the first move. Therefore, I plan to use passive actions to achieve victory." Zhang Yi's gaze scanned the surroundings for a long time, before he determined the location of his ambush, a charred, dark commercial building. Zhang Yi turned around and gave a few orders. "I will set up an ambush on the roof, and your job is to protect my safety in the area." After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he didn't wait for Chen Xiaoxiao and Peng Li to respond, and directly opened the dimensional gate. "Liang Yu, you are in charge of protecting me." Liang Yu nodded, as this kind of thing required no words. The two of them and Flower entered the dimensional gate, and the next moment they appeared on top of the building. Chen Xiaoxiao and Peng Li were left alone, staring at each other in the snow below. Why did he leave us here?" Peng Li looked incredulous. "What kind of captain is that? He's so irresponsible." She stamped her feet in anger. Chen Xiaoxiao's eyebrows were raised in anger as she cautiously surveyed the surroundings while saying, "He knows very well that our relationship is only temporary, so from the beginning he never intended to care about our thoughts. However, now that we are all in a dangerous battlefield, his actions are indeed somewhat childish. Ping Li sighed and said, so what do we do? Chen Xiaoxiao said, let's just do what he says for now. Leaving the group rashly will only increase our danger. There was nothing the two of them could do, so they could only choose to lie in wait around the building, waiting for someone from Eclipse Moon to come looking for them. In fact, their conversation could be heard clearly by the headquarters of the command center. Zhu Jing crossed his arms and couldn't help but sigh, this Zhang Yi is really too cautious. However, he is very clever, and this is indeed a good way to test the opponent's abilities. They all knew that Eclipse Moon had powerful intelligence-gathering capabilities. But no one knew exactly what those capabilities were. Zhang Yi chose to hide on the outskirts of Jiangning Square and did not take the initiative to attack. If the opponent could still find their location, then it could basically be concluded that the opponent's abilities were similar to the terrifying ability of prophecy. So, what are the other two teams doing? Zhu Zheng's gaze fell on the other two outer city teams. Wu Shifang and Zhuo Feiyu's team were also advancing with extreme vigilance. Everyone knew that this operation was fraught with danger and no one dared to be careless. Wu Shifang and the other three also arrived at the designated location. There was not much verbal arrangement between the few of them. Compared to Zhang Yi's team, the other teams had already formulated their battle plans a long time ago. After all, not everyone was as confident in their abilities as Zhang Yi. They needed to plan their team battles well to ensure that nothing would go wrong. And once they entered the Jiangning Square area, the first thing they needed to do was reconnaissance. Mo Zhongning from Wu Shifang's team stepped forward. His eyes fixed on the large area of ruins ahead of him, and then he slowly crouched down. He placed his right hand on the snow. Everyone nearby clearly saw the restless movement of his sleeve. A light condensed in the palm of his hand. Then a gray rodent burrowed out of his palm. Mo Zhongning, the ability user who was in the release department, ability code, Soul Beast. He can use his supernatural powers to conjure different animals, and these animals are like his extensions, sharing his 5 senses. Go, find them. Mo Zhongning said in a low voice. The soul beasts screeched and dashed into the burnout square. Soon, they disappeared among the ruins. Zhuo Feiyu's team did not have similar reconnaissance methods, but they had an experienced veteran who was proficient in reconnaissance. Yu Zhengyang had been a reconnaissance soldier for 7 years, so he was in the front, leading the way and carefully searching for traces of the Eclipse Moon group. A certain area in Jiangning Square. 13 people from the Eclipse Moon group gathered here. Although there was smoke all around them and the air was filled with black soot, they did not look the least bit troubled. It was as if they had taken cover before the bombing even started. 12 people formed a circle, with the middle-aged man Jinguji Saikairo in the middle. He habitually pushed his gold-rimmed glasses up his nose, before taking his hands out of his suit pockets. His long, thin index finger slowly raised, and a little golden light appeared at the tip. His gaze suddenly became sharp, and his right hand quickly drew a semicircle in the air while he recited a spell. The soldiers who have gathered here to fight are in formation as one. The golden light in the air did not disperse, and quickly turned into a huge golden 5-pointed star. The golden light in Jinguji's eyes flashed. As he pointed his right finger at the sky, the golden 5-pointed star shattered, turning into countless tiny talismans that soared into the sky. A few moments later, a majestic fog began to spread around Jinguji's location. In just a few minutes, the entire Jiangning Plaza was enveloped. The 3 teams were the first to notice the abnormality and reported to the combat center. An unidentified fog has been detected. It covers a very large area, so it must be the work of someone from Eclipse Moon. Zhu Jing immediately said, everyone, be careful and prevent anyone from Eclipse Moon from attacking while the fog is still around. He didn't need to say anything more, as the mutants from the outer city would be careful on their own. This ability was not mentioned in any of the intelligence reports, Zhuo Feiyu said with a serious expression. As expected, they still have a lot of their abilities from the first battle, veteran Yu Xingyang said calmly. This is just a distraction to hide their vision, it is not offensive. In the other team, Mo Zhongming's mouth curled up in a sneer. The thick fog can mess up people's vision, but it cannot hinder the soul beasts. It is better to say that this battlefield is more conducive to my style now. In any case, the two teams are slowly advancing towards Jiangning Square. On the contrary, Zhang Yi's side had erected a wall on the roof of a building on the edge of Jiangning Square, with no intention of advancing at all. It's up to them when they want to come forward. And he was certain in his heart that the enemy would definitely come to him. At this time, the three investigation teams all had the authority to act independently. Under the unclear situation ahead, Zhu Xing would not order them to do anything. This is a battlefield, where the ability to adapt to changing situations is of the utmost importance. Zhu Xing chose to trust these mutants from the outer cities. In the combat center, Zhu Xing frowned as he looked at the heavy fog that had appeared in front of him.